Now, as the nation celebrated Dussehra by burning the effigies of Ravan, the farmers in Punjab paced up the crop residue burning as 360 farm fires, the maximum in a day this season, were reported on Tuesday, taking the overall count to 2,306. A few farmers set stubble on fire to register their protest against the government agencies. In fact, some say that while farmers are penalised for setting paddy residue on fire, no action is taken against those burning lakhs of Ravan effigies during the Dussehra and also bursting crackers during Diwali. We have a reaction from Gopal Rai, Delhi's Environment Minister. Here's what he said.
अगर हम देखें तो 2 दिन पहले दिल्ली में AQI का जो स्तर था वो 300 के पार चला गया था। अभी कल भी जो AQI का स्तर था उसमें गिरावट दर्ज की गई है और 300 से नीचे है और मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि अभी आगामी दिनों में भी ये ऐसी तरह से अप डाउन करता रहेगा और ऐसा अनुमान लगाया जा रहा है कि 30 तारीख के बाद हो सकता है कि इसमें बढ़ोतरी हो।
And my colleague Mohammad Ghazali is tracking all the latest developments for us on the ground. He joins us live from Mohali district at the moment, where he will also be speaking to some farmers to understand the impact that this has exerted. Ghazali, you were reporting that a lower rate of stubble burning has been reported so far due to late harvesting, but 360 farm fires logged yesterday, the maximum in a day this season?
Oh yes, but Parmeshwar, I already mentioned that it is very unfair to compare the data of the farm fires of this season with the previous season, partly because of 2 reasons. One, the season is not over yet. The second, the harvesting has not picked up in the entire state. And I'll just try to explain that why it is happening. I'm joined here by some farmers, and you see on this side, this is the paddy field which is half harvested. Why it is half harvested? Just a short while ago, this farmer brought his farm machinery to harvest the field, but he couldn't harvest the entire field because it is still not fully dry. Now, why it is not dry, why they can't harvest the field, and why the harvesting will get delayed, we'll try to speak to him and get to know the reason behind it. क्या नाम है आपका?
परमिंदर सिंह जी।
हाँ, ये बताइए कि अभी थोड़ी देर पहले आपने अपनी मशीन लेकर आए थे कि ये चावल के जो खेत है इसको आप सफाई करेंगे या कटाई करेंगे, क्यों नहीं हो पाया?
सर इस करके नहीं ਵੱਢ ਹੋਇਆ ਕਿ ਤਾਂ ਪਾਣੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਆਇਆ ਹੈਗਾ, ਗਿੱਲੇ ਖੇਤ ਹੋਏ ਵੇ ਆ। ਇੱਕ ਦੂਜਾ ਗਿੱਲ ਵਢਵਾ ਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਕੁਝ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਮੰਡੀ 'ਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ। ਇੱਕ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਵਾ ਵੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਅੱਗ ਨਹੀਂ ਲਾਣੀ ਹੈਗੀ। ਹੁਣ ਕੱਲ ਰਾਵਣ ਨੂੰ ਅੱਗ ਲਾਈ ਹੈ, ਕਿੰਨਾ ਧੂਆਂ ਹੋਇਆ, ਕਿੰਨੀ ਪ੍ਰਦੂਸ਼ਣ ਹੋਈ ਆ, ਉਹ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇਖਦੀ। ਸਾਡੀ ਜੇ ਪਰਾਲੀ ਨੂੰ ਫੂਕਦੇ ਆ ਇਹ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਵੀ ਇਹਦੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਧੂਆਂ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਗਾ। ਕਿੰਨਾ ਸੋਚਦੇ नहीं है भी किद्दां अपना जट बीजूगा, फसलबाड़ी किद्दां करूगा। भाई कह दें अग नहीं लानी हैगी, नहीं चलान होंगे।
नहीं, ये बताइए कि आप जब मशीन लेके आते हैं तो मशीन क्या आप सरकार से किराए पे लेते हैं, खुद लेते हैं? और अगर किराए पे लेते हैं तो कितना किराया लगता है उसका?
नहीं, सरकार तो सानू कुछ भी मुहैया नहीं करांदी जी। सरकार का कोई फायदा है ही नहीं सानू। ये तो प्राइवेट बंदियां ने लिੱਤੀ हुई है, इन्हां नूं किराया दिंदे आ, अगले वढ के चले जाते हैं। जे नहीं वढ होंदी, माड़ा मोटा गिल होंदी, अगला कहता साडी वड्डी नहीं जानी।
तो ये आपका खेत गीला क्यों है? बारिश हुई थी?
बारिश हुई थी जी, सारा पानी इधर पंचकूले दा पंजाब वाला सारा पानी साडे खेतां च गिरदा A to Z।
तो अभी आपको ये नहीं पता कि कब तक सूखेगा, फिर कब इसकी कटाई होगी, ये अभी नहीं पता?
हाले कोई पता नहीं जी। जिन्नी क वढ हुई है तुहाडे सामने ही है, जिन्ने क दाने साडे पल्ले पए आ देखदे आ। उस तो बाद हुण सरकार ने कहा भी अग ना लाओ, फिर साडी कणक फिर लेट हो जानी है।
तो आप आग लगाइएगा नहीं लगाइएगा, क्या लगता है?
ਹੁਣ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਆਂ ਜੀ ਵੀ ਅੱਗ ਲਾ ਕੇ ਚੱਲੂਗਾ ਕੰਮ। ਸਰਕਾਰ ਤਾਂ ਨਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਗਈ ਵੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਅੱਗ ਲਾਉਂਗੇ ਚਲਾਨ ਹੋਣਗੇ। ਹੁਣ ਕੱਲ ਰਾਵਣ ਫੁੱਕਿਆ, ਕਿੰਨਾ ਧੂਆਂ ਹੋਇਆ ਜੀ, ਉਹ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਦੇਖਿਆ? ਕਿੰਨੀ ਪ੍ਰਦੂਸ਼ਣ ਹੋਈ ਆ? ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾਗਾ ਵੀ ਇੰਨੀ ਪ੍ਰਦੂਸ਼ਣ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ? ਜੱਟ ਅੱਗ ਲਾਂਦਾ ਖੇਤ ਨੂੰ, ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰਦੂਸ਼ਣ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਜੀ, ਧੂਆਂ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ।
अच्छा, दिल्ली में लोग अक्सर कहते हैं कि पंजाब में किसान आग लगाते हैं इसलिए दिल्ली में धुआं होता है। आप लोग इतने साल से हम लोगों को रिपोर्ट करते हुए सुनते देखते, अखबार हेडलाइन में है, इससे कहीं सहमत होते हैं कि आप लोग आग लगाते हैं इसलिए दिल्ली में?
नहीं जी, ये तो गलत है, गलत गल। इतों दिल्ली तक कित्थे चलिया जाऊगा? हुण लोकां नूं कहा वा सरकार ने भी अग नहीं लानी, ਉਹ अगला कोई फूकदा भी है औखा सौखा होके वो दिल्ली कितने पहुंच जाऊगा। ये झूठियां गल्लां सरकार दी।
एक आखिरी सवाल, आपको क्या लगता है सरकार क्या करे? आप लोगों को ऐसा मशीन दे, पैसे दे, क्या करे जिससे आप लोग आग नहीं लगाइएगा, या फैक्ट्री में जाए ताकि आमदनी बढ़े? इन तीनों चारों में से या कोई अलग ऑप्शन है आपके पास?
या तो सरकार नूं ये लेके जानी चाहिए जी इकट्ठी करके, ਜਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਆਪਣਾ ਮਸ਼ੀਨਾਂ ਦੇਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀਆਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ, ਇਕੱਠੀ ਕਰਕੇ ਆ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਣ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਫਾਈ ਕਰਕੇ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਜਾਣ, ਜੋ ਸਾਡੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਫਸਲ ਛੇਤੀ ਤੋਂ ਛੇਤੀ ਹੋ ਸਕੇ। ਹੁਣ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕਦ ਵੱਢੂਗੇ ਅਸੀਂ, ਕਦ ਕੱਢੂਗੇ, ਉਹੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਕਣਕ ਲੇਟ ਹੋ ਜਾਣੀ ਹੈ। ਇਹਦਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ। ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ, ਕੋਈ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਮਸ਼ੀਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਹੋਈ ਵੀ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਬਾਹਰ ਕੱਢੂਗੇ ਜਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੋਏ, ਕੋਈ ਸਿਸਟਮ नहीं है सरकार को।
और फैक्ट्री वगैरह लग जाती है तो उससे फायदा होगा अगर पराली यहाँ से लेके चले जाएं और ईंधन बनाते हैं उसका?
ਉਹਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਹੋਊਗਾ ਹੀ ਜੀ ਜੇ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਣਗੇ, ਪਰ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਕੋਈ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਨਾ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ।
ठीक है, you heard it very clearly. What he's saying is that they are not getting machines from the government, as government claims that they are providing or distributing machines to those farmers who had registered with them in the previous season or from the onset of paddy harvesting season. The second thing he says that due to unseasonal rain and also due to flood in the nearby areas of Haryana as well, the field got submerged and it is still not dry so that the machine can harvest the field or clear the field. He's also worried about two things. One, that the more it delays, the more harvesting delays, he will not have enough time to clear this field and sow the next wheat crop. So this is the tale of almost every farmer in Punjab and Haryana. You get into any field where you see farmers harvesting, they'll always have one worry that it's an additional input cost by hiring these machines from the private players, or if you have your own machine, then you pay on the fuel cost. So the input cost keeps increasing, but the output or the income on paddy harvesting or on farming stays stagnant. There is a meager rise in MSP and all. This is what he has been suggesting while in our conversation about paddy and stubble burning. He also raises the issue of the Raman effigy burning yesterday on Dashera, and a sign of a protest. He says that people, that's why, burn stubble even in this season.
Ghazali, as always, thank you so much for joining us with the latest from Ground Zero. Ghazali, they're reporting from Mohali district, where he's spoken to farmers who are crucially highlighting that while farmers are penalized for setting paddy residue on fire, no action is taken against those burning lakhs of Ravan effigies during Dashera or those who are bursting firecrackers during Diwali. A familiar sequence of events unfolds in the national capital region before the advent of winter. We've seen this as a tragic deja vu year in, year out. The monsoon retreats, dries the air and when the wind drops, and the pollution from construction, industry, road transport, which is masked throughout the year, becomes more visible. But the recurrent tragedy of addressing the problem of air pollution in Delhi especially is that it invariably descends into a blame game. Joining us to understand what's happening and for further clarity on the matter, we have with us Abhishek Kar, Senior Program Lead from the Council on Energy, Environment and Water. Thank you so much, Abhishek, for making time for us on NDTV. Now, public transport has moved to CNG. We've seen this. There are restrictions on old vehicles. Electrification of fleets is being encouraged. There are emission standards for vehicles in place. We're told coal power plants are being shut on a war footing. What do you think has really worked so far in terms of curbing pollution, especially as far as the NCR region is concerned?
Yeah, so I'll say it is always a mix of multiple things which has helped, like all the things that you have listed. I think the government is also pretty proactive, but we have to understand and distinguish between short-term and long-term action. What happens is only post-monsoon, there's suddenly, this entire, oh my God, winter is coming, so let's do something about it. This mentality has improved over the last few years, but still there's scope of improvement. For example, I'll give you a specific example. We know that construction dust is going to be a major problem now and in the next 10 to 12 weeks. How many trainings have been done for construction staff managers, site managers, workers? Because these are things that cannot be done in just a span of 1 day or 2 days or 3 days. So there is a need for year-round action on this on a war footing. If we are trying to solve a massive complex crisis just in a span of 7 days, that's not possible. Yeah, what we can definitely do is to improve the situation is definitely, for example, how do you incentivize public transportation and reducing the use of vehicles, personal vehicles? Now, the awareness campaigns around it are not going to work in a very short term of, okay, in the next 10 days, we do an awareness campaign and people stop cars. No, it's not going to happen. In this kind of emergency situations, as as we are looking at kind of really poor quality of air, we should think about how we are able to incentivize. And at this
Right.
time, unfortunately, because it's a short notice, we have to go for financial incentive. How about trying to double the parking fees and for the next for the days with worst air quality? Controversial, but again, unless we are working round the year, we need to focus on radical results or radical policies when the crisis is so bad.
Right, Abhishek, as you said, year in, year out, airwaves are filled with immediate band-aid type solutions. And in fact, quite a few TV experts finally come around to just one issue, which is stubble burning by farmers in either Punjab or Haryana. Now, isn't it inaccurate to exclusively blame just the stubble burning in neighboring states? Doesn't this tend to disregard the local sources of toxic emission?
It does. For example, for Delhi, 30% is coming from within Delhi's boundaries. But again, the challenge is that you have multiple sources of pollution, and we cannot just focus on one and try to really kind of hype and say, okay, we have to stop this while having a disregard for the others. Because there are stakeholders who are associated with that particular source. Say, for instance, stubble burning. There are farmers, and they're rightfully pointed out, as you showed in your report earlier. They're saying, what is happening with, the Dussehra celebration? What is happening with the vehicles? Why come at us? Now, it is absolutely fine to come at them, provided you also come at the other sources.
Absolutely.
And that is where I think this issue of impression management and stakeholder consultation really plays an important role. Each and every stakeholder has a part. And the government must be proactive in not just telling, but also showing to them that we are coming to you for your part of the problem. We acknowledge there are other problems and we are working with them as well. That messaging needs to be clear. Otherwise, some may think, okay, we have become the punching box, which unfortunately is not going to help solve that problem. And also it disregards the other major sources of pollution.
Absolutely. Also, Abhishek, governments have responded with increased emphasis on farm mechanization, even encouraging farmers to use combine harvesters, straw management systems, among other measures. Has this had an effective impact on the ground? What is your assessment?
Right. So our research has shown that we have enough machines on the ground to take care of the problem. The challenge is always in logistics and ground level management. And this is where I think there is this disconnect between the top rung of the policymakers and leaders who are enthusiastic about it, who understand the gravity of the problem, but trying to do it. But how does that same urgency go down and then think of the logistical variations and challenges? If there is a site where there is one machine and there are 6 farmers and all 6 of them want it first, and that is the problem where you need to do conflict management. This is why I'm saying this cannot be solved when the crisis is at the hand. Throughout the year, there needs to be the rollout. If you're saying, okay, someone has not been registered, so they're not getting the machine, where has been the proactiveness from the government to reach out to those people, just like we do for, say, vaccines? And tell them, hey guys, please come, please register, because we need you to take this help of this machine, and it's very cheap for you. The challenge is that this kind of awareness campaigns cannot be a one event. As a student of behavior science, this is something which I keep on telling the policymakers. It cannot be a one-time thing. Okay, I do one event, one conference, and that's it. People's behavior get changed. No, you need to do this, engage continuously and increase the intensity of the engagement near the winter period. And only that is going to help bring that trust that farmers will know, okay, the technology is there, you need to go in, it is not going to cost you much, and whatever suspicions and doubt they have, whether it's real or it's perceived, the job of the government, because they are responsible to make the change, is to reach out to them and take the help of the local NGOs, other trusted agencies and institutions which are out there, because this cannot be solved alone in a way of a top-down dictum. Don't do it.
We've been talking about it way too long for us also not to have a solution in place as we speak. Punjab and Haryana governments have set up centres to rent out machinery to farmers at a nominal charge, we're told, and free of cost to small and marginal farmers. But the catch here is that these machines would be of help only if farmers own tractors that are powerful enough to haul these machines across their field. But Abhishek, as we wrap, We've established the scale of this problem is humongous. We know Punjab and Haryana together generate nearly 40 million tons of paddy and other crop residues every year. You think it's going to be a while before a sustainable solution is found?
I think it all boils down to the leadership, and it has to be a leadership at the highest level, which is bringing the states together and pushing for the action. It's a democracy. After all, if we are able to get strong push from the top, we are going to see changes in the ground. It has happened in multiple places, where we have seen tremendous changes happen over a very short duration of time. I'm hopeful that things are going to happen. The governments definitely are much more proactive than they were in earlier years. So let's hope that next time we don't focus and talk about emergency situations and solutions, but make this mainstream issue throughout the year and not just at the time when the problem is at its peak.
Absolutely. Abhishek Kar, thank you so much for making time for us and joining us on NDTV.